Hey guys, Brian from Brian Boas here. Today I'm going to give an update on my recently born litter of Coupes Pastel Boas. We'll have a look with my close-up lens at some of the beautiful babies, take a look at the parents, including the mother here and the father. I'm also going to say a little bit more about these beautiful orange Coupes Pastel Boas, as well as information if you're looking to possibly acquire one of these or one of my other baby boas born this year. So be sure to stay tuned for that. So a few weeks ago, I had this beautiful litter of a dozen of these Coupes Pastel Colombian Boas. And so the Coupes Pastel line is a selectively bred, pure Colombian line that was founded by Silvio Coupes in Germany. And what he did is he took two animals that had a lot of orange pastel colors, he bred them together, and then he did that and repeated the process until he got this line that just has these beautiful orange pastel tones. And so Vin Russo took over the project and he's been continuing it. This animal was actually produced by Vin Russo in 2015, and so you can see how beautiful orange she is. It's like this really deep orange. It almost has a little bit of a purplish tint to it. Just really beautiful. This female is one of the most orange Coupes Pastels that I've seen. They also have these really cool looking eyes. And that, that's one thing that attracted me to the Coupes Pastel, is just these beautiful orangey eyes. And so it is a pastel. It's kind of like a morph, but it's not like a single gene morph like the Moran Pastel. It's a polygenic trait, so there's lots of genes together that give them these pastel colors. And so when you breed a Coupes Pastel to a non-pastel boa, the babies are going to get some of the pastel genes, so there'll be varying amounts of pastel coloration. When you breed two of the Coupes Pastels together, they're going to get more of these pastel genes. So this is the product of breeding together really nice orange pastel boas for multiple generations. And I'm really happy to say that I've continued this, producing more pure Coupes Pastel babies, which are even more orange. And we'll take a look at those in a minute with my close-up lens. But the mother did really fantastic. She produced this really nice litter. She's recovering now. She's fed a few times, so she did lose quite a bit of weight, although she doesn't look too thin. I mean, this is a pretty solid animal. She's probably about 6.5 or 7 feet long. So she'll put back on the weight, no problem. She will have the year off next year. She's not going to breed next year, but possibly the following year I'll breed her again. The Coupes Pastel has been bred into a lot of morph projects to enhance the colors, but it's hard to find pure Coupes Pastel that don't have any morph influence bred into them. And so this is the pure thing. These are pure Colombian boas from the Coupes Pastel line with no morphs crossed into them. So it's a pure Colombian locality boa as well. And as I've said many, many times before, I think that the Colombian boas are the best pet boas for beginner boa keepers and for, more seriously experienced people as well. They're just a great animal. They're really laid back. You can see taking her out and handling is a joy. She's not like squeezing the hell out of my arm like a true red tail. She's not trying to get away. She's just kind of calmly exploring. They're not aggressive. Just really great animals. They're also really hardy. They're not nearly as temperamental as the true red tails when it comes to feeding. So you're much less likely to have any husbandry issues with these Colombian boas. These, by the way, are boa imperator or boa constrictor imperator. They're not true red tails, but in my opinion, they're every bit as beautiful and desirable. So if you're looking to get a first-time pet boa, I highly, highly recommend these Coupes Pastel boas. They're just great animals. And with my babies, I was really happy to see the intense pink coloration in the babies, as well as a lot of really cool patterns. They all have slightly different patterns. So with that in mind, I'm going to take out my close-up lens. Let's take a look at some of the babies. There's a baby Coupes Pastel boa, and these guys are just so orange and pink. They're just amazing, the colors. My jaw kind of dropped after these guys shed when I saw all the color. And so, as I mentioned, this was a project started quite a while ago, several decades ago in Europe. And Silvio Coops selectively bred them for multiple generations till they got this nice orange color. And then Vin Russo continued the project for several generations, and this is yet another generation into the project. So as you breed two of the Coops pastels together, they're just going to get more and more orange with every generation. And then even if you breed a Coops pastel to a non-pastel boa, some of the offspring are going to have this nice orange coloration. So it's a really cool animal to have in your collection. There's a side shot so you can better see some of the orangey yellow or orangey pink coloration. And what's cool about these animals, they all have this beautiful coloration, but the patterns do vary a little bit. And this one has this really cool looking tail. It's not quite a ladder tail, but it's kind of got these square areas of white between the, the dark brownish red in the tail. Just a really cool look. And I said red in the tail. These aren't true red tails, but they're just as good. Pure Colombian boa imperator or boa constrictor imperator if you like the old classification. And these are probably the best pet boa you can get if you want an animal that you can take out and handle, and it's going to be really mellow and docile, as well as really hardy and easy to care for. This guy's super mellow. He's not really even moving around very much, so I'm going to give him a little nudge. See if we can get him to move for the camera. So you can see just, the pattern. Oh, there he goes. But there's that really cool tail that I was talking about. Here's another Coops pastel, and as you can see, this guy also has a crazy amount of that orangey pink color. And I would say that pretty much all the litter has this. I don't really have favorites. I mean, to me, they all look like they're really brightly colored. About the only difference I can see is the pattern. You can see this guy has kind of more of a standard boa constrictor pattern as far as the blotches on his tail being kind of slightly off oval shape, as you would expect, but some of them do have that more symmetrical laddered looking tail like the last guy. There's a side close-up just to give you an idea about the beautiful colors this guy has. And like his sibling, he's not moving around very much. These are just really mellow, just like most Colombian boas, so great for someone that wants a pet boa. Here's another real knockout animal. This one has the beautiful pink colors, but he has also kind of a lot of speckling. And then the tail on this one is really, really cool. You can see he's got that more of a ladder tail look with the white rectangles between the darker, reddish brown patches. Just a really nice looking animal. Here's a quick panning shot. I don't really need to say much more about these animals. I think picture's worth 1,000 words, as they say, so I'll just kind of keep my mouth shut. One more baby to look at. This one has kind of more of a classic Colombian boa look with definitely the enhanced coloration. You can see all that orangey pink color. For someone that doesn't think a non-true red tail is a colorful boa, I urge you to check out these Coops pastels because they're just off the charts with color and just a really, really beautiful animal. Great pet. One of the top recommended boas for beginners and for experienced keepers alike. I'm just going to try to nudge her along, see if I can get some motion. There she goes. So now that we've seen the babies, I thought I'd show you the father of the litter. This is another 2015 Coops pastel produced by Vin Russo. So this guy isn't quite as deeply colored as the female, but he's got this nice, beautiful orangey pink tone to him. Unfortunately, he has a nose rub. He's been kind of rubbing his nose. It looks a little better than it did, so I think it's improving. But sometimes they get this nose rub, especially during the breeding season. They just get really antsy, and with this guy, I think it helps to feed him a little bit more, makes him a little less active and less nervous. So hopefully that'll resolve completely in the next few weeks. But this guy is about the same size as the female. I'd say maybe 6.5, 7 feet. Real hefty boa, nice and muscular. But just a great animal for someone that wants a pet boa that's going to get kind of big, not huge, but certainly not a dwarf boa. So these guys can get up to 8 or probably even 9 feet, very rarely, depending on their feeding schedule. So you shouldn't get one if you can't handle an animal that big. But they're not huge animals either. It's not like getting a retic or a burm or anything like that. And so these babies are going to be for sale. And I expect that they'll be ready to go probably sometime around September. They've all fed already, which is great. They just need to feed some more. Just make sure that they're all perfectly healthy before they're ready to go. And so the best place to stay tuned for updates is, of course, this channel. I release videos on available animals when they're ready to go. So if you're interested in possibly getting one, be sure to stay tuned to the channel. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll give you all the information. But I don't take deposits. I don't do waiting lists. It's first come, first serve when the animals are ready to go. So if you're interested, save your money and stay tuned to this channel so you'll be ready to pull the trigger when they go on sale. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video and enjoyed looking at these beautiful Koops pastel boas. As always, shoot me any questions if you have any, or you can write them in the comments below. Thanks for watching and enjoy your boas.